In this video, I'm going to talk about how sometimes a wargaming rule set just doesn't work for you. Now, if you've been doing this for any amount of time, as I have, you will at some point come across a brand new shiny, a brand new wargaming rule set. Either it's something from a company you've never heard of before, something real indie, or it's something from a big company that you've been following for a long time, and they come up with something new, something you've never seen before, some sort of really cool new rule set, and it's completely right up your alley, or for those of you across the ocean, up your street. And like for me, it might be post-apocalyptic, right? You know what I mean? Post-apocalyptic, I'm all about that. So a new game comes out and you're super excited and you're watching the hype and you're reading blog posts and videos and YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And then you actually get a hold of it and you start to read the rules, and then you just lose it. You're like, well, why did they do that? That doesn't make any sense. Or, well, why would you roll 2 dice for this? Why do you not get a save against the, there's just all these weird little mechanics, features to a rule set. Do you roll high? Do you roll low? You know what I mean? Do you roll many dice? Do you roll only 1 die? Do you have reactions to things? Do you not have reactions to things? How does cover work? All these different little things are what make up a rule set, okay? So, what are you going to do when all of a sudden you realize this rule set is completely counterintuitive to me, or it's completely just not the way that I would normally play, not the way that I would think that you would do it? There's a lot of different rule sets out there, like one that I can think of recently, Dark Age from Cool Mini or Not. I know people like it. And I love the look of the models, specifically the newer ones. I'm a big fan of Core, which are the robots that were left behind that used to help people, but now their programming has gone all squirrely. So now they're like, well, we need to survive, and we can survive on organic matter, and people are made out of organic matter, as it turns out. So we're just going to eat people and attack them, and there's great sculpts, great models, great artwork, all this kind of stuff is super cool. And so I bought some of the stuff at Gen Con a couple of years ago, and I painted it up, and you've seen some of it probably here on the channel. And then I actually played with like a really good player, a guy who places in tournaments and, like at Gen Con and Adepticon and is well known amongst the people who play in those tournaments. And so he knows the rules, you know what I mean? And he taught me the rules, and we played a game, and I just didn't enjoy it. He was really cool. The models looked great. But there were so many times during the game, which just to me, I was like, well, why would the rule work that way? At this point now it's all hazy, because I'm in my mid 40s and this happened like 5 months ago. But at the time, I do remember several times looking down the table and going, that rule doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand why that would be the case. You know what I mean? And like, this doesn't make any sense. And that doesn't. And all those little things have a tendency to add up. And at least if you're me, they annoy you to the point where you're like, I don't enjoy this rule set. This isn't done right, or whatever the problem is. You know what I mean? I don't personally think you should try to just power through it and just enjoy it, because you enjoy the artwork and you enjoy the sculpts and all that. Don't just be like, yeah, but I hate the rule set, but I still play anyway because, that's what everybody else plays or whatever. I don't do that. Just if you're going to take anything away from this quick video, don't do that. Like, why is it? Why are there certain games that resonate with certain people and then games that don't? Just recently I watched a kind of a battle report of Conflict 47, which is the new game from Warlord Games, the guys who make Bolt Action. And Bolt Action has been interesting to me, and I've been like, yeah, and I'm getting older and thinking more about, historical stuff. Did a video about getting older and thinking about historical stuff up there. But, I didn't really pull the trigger, and I had other stuff. I was playing Flames of War and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden they come out with this Conflict 47, which is alternate history, weird World War II with Walker-type mech robots and Nazi zombies. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm not made out of stone. You know what I mean? So I start looking into it, and I watch this bat rep, and I'm watching them do stuff, and I'm just like, well, yeah, of course. You know what I mean? And like, well, yeah, that's exactly how you would do that. That totally makes sense. Oh, there's this type of roll when you do this thing? Of course, that makes complete. Some of it can just be old hat. Because, and it's not because I play bolt action, because I don't, but from what I understand, bolt action, Conflict 47 are basically interchangeable as far as a rule set's concerned, which is really a cool idea, I think. It's not that, it's that from what I have heard and what I have read, bolt action has a lot of things in common with 40K, which I have played for years in the past. There's a lot of, they've taken a lot of things that annoy me about the rule set for 40K, and it seems like they've taken them and fixed them. You know, it's not I do my entire turn while you eat a sandwich, and then you do your entire turn while I take a nap. It's more of we reach into a bag and we pull out a die. Oh, it's a black one. That's yours. You get to do a unit, and then pull it on one. Oh, it's a black one, and then oh, and now it's a green one, and you go back and forth that way, unit by unit by unit, and it's cool. And it's not just like you go, I go. It's you don't know. But you know how many dice are in the bag, so you do know if I do 4 in a row, that means you're going to get a bunch in a row at the end, most likely, because we know how many dice are in the bag. So it's a cool system that way. And part of what watching it and seeing it, I think, is just be like, yeah, that looks a little bit like 40K, except they fixed all the parts that annoy me about 40K. There can be game systems out there that a lot of people love. A lot of people obviously love Warhammer 40K. And then there are people out there who are just like, I hate the rule system. I just don't like the rule system. I can't tell you why people dislike certain things. Obviously, none of us can tell each other that. But I can tell you that probably you should not just decide to suck it up. Admittedly, I have a lot of friends who are getting into Infinity, and I have played a couple of demos now of it. And the rule set, to me, just doesn't make a lot of sense, and it just seems odd, and it just grates against me a little bit, and I don't know why, but it just does. The rule set's got to be very important, obviously. When you're playing a tabletop war game, you can love the models, you can love the storyline, the fluff, the lore, whatever you want to call it, but if the rule set itself annoys you, you're not going to play much. You might paint the stuff because you love it, and you might read a lot of novels if they do that kind of thing, or whatever, but you're not going to play if you don't like the actual mechanics of how you play the game. So I would tell you to not force it. I'd tell you to just be like, okay, well, maybe you're just becoming an enthusiast. Maybe you just love Black Library books, because you want to read about Warhammer 40K and all those Space Marines being angry and whatever, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But you're like, but I don't want to play the game because I don't like what they did in 7th edition or whatever, you know what I mean? But there are, and it's very difficult to explain, but for everybody, and I bet you every one of you who out there has got a comment that you can drop in below about a game that you just don't like the mechanics of for whatever reason. Other people think it's very popular and it's great, and whatever, but you just are like, I just hate how they do this, and then this, and then this, and then, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's like, oh, I like everything about that game except for one rule. Well, sometimes you can house rule that stuff, but mechanics to the games are important, and sometimes it's just very difficult to figure out what it is about this one specific game that just works your last nerve. So I don't know, like I said, I would just tell you to not let it do that and just play something else. Sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes the game that you hate is the game that's the most popular. Maybe you're just like, you know what, I can't stand X-Wing. Well, everybody kind of plays X-Wing, so that makes it sort of difficult, but in the long run, I think you'll be happier if you stick to your guns and be like, this rule set to me is the worst part of this game. And because of that, like, I can get over bad sculpts. You can get over bad sculpts. Iffy lore, all these things. Generally, we can kind of get over, but bad mechanics, that's tough to ignore.